What's up, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and I have finally wrapped up the games that I plan on playing in 2019 from this particular year. It's been a long haul. I had a forced bit of a break there in the September and October and November timeframes, and I didn't get to check out as many games as I wanted to check out until now. But here we are, finished up, and with the games I think I plan on playing in 2019, I sort of look back and what I see are an incredible number of titles, some notorious experiences, some tremendous failures, and more than a few questionable decisions when it comes to the gaming industry. And sure, I have a couple awards for that, but first I want to cover some of the good stuff. This first one is for one of the more important genres of categories, I think, overall. There are games that are timeless in their presentation. They can be played 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years later and still delight in artistic representation, or the surprise of the gameplay that they offered, or the way in which they embrace an atmosphere. But due to the time frame or the competition or the lack of appreciable public relations, it wasn't that difficult to get lost in 2019. We had AAA titles festooning building-sized ads on the side of skyscrapers during events, or haphazardly ejecting game keys to every influencer with a Z in their name and a "it's your boy" greeting. This year we saw our fair share of titles that just couldn't grab a hold of some gamers or get their attention enough to elevate themselves above the rest of the crowd, especially when everyone's waving. Which hand do you pick? Well, the hand I wished more people had picked was Concrete Genie on the PS4. It absolutely surprised me, not exactly in its gameplay or even in its presentation, but in its atmosphere combined with everything else. It was a sheer delight within a simple mechanic. It elevating this feeling of magic and mystery above everything else. And even when I talk about other games and then look back, I always see Concrete Genie staring me back at the face. It continues to astound me with a cross between like a 3 a.m. rave and Where the Wild Things Are all mixed together. But the title's true skill for bringing the genies to life was what I noticed. They crisscross and traipse around the game world, stuck somehow to that 2D dimension of the game's walls and ceilings and floor, but they always somehow feel ever present in the 3D dimension, and with your character creating your own set of various different genies from different choices as you unlock them, each more crazy than the last, allows for the gamer to sort of reflect themselves into this title as well. It didn't set the world on fire when it comes to ratings or sales, but the artistic magic is pretty hard to deny. And when I look back and see these kind of titles, I really do have to bring them up. And I know some people haven't even heard of this, or maybe thought to themselves it's a bit too artsy when they first saw it. But caring about those things are really tangential to me. Where tons of games out there like shepherds trying to find out where their sheep are running so they can then go to them and lead them where they're already headed, Concrete Genie does its own thing, and it draws you in regardless. May not be the longest game, but what it offers, to me at least, is something incredibly unique and, unfortunately, also incredibly overlooked. But as we go into these game awards and I start to put these out, I'd like to know what you guys think. What is your overlooked game? I think there were a lot of titles out there that didn't sell very well that maybe still got the PR push. We're going to talk about some of those in the podcast, but I would like to know what you think. What are some of your overlooked games? Games that you think are very good and really do offer something unique, and yet at the same time just didn't catch on, especially in this year where a lot of people look at 2019, especially before it even happened, and even now, and say, there were some big titles. However, when you look back, I personally feel 2019 had a number of very, very strong titles, all the way from January until now. And I think for some of these smaller titles, getting overlooked quite easy. So again, post in the comments what you think. What's your overlooked game? I'd love to hear it. The next up, we're going to do sound, music, voice. We'll do fun factor. We'll do game of the year. As I sit back and sort of look at some of these titles, I'll do a couple different categories as well, maybe mix some together. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do these videos. I do them differently every single year. Other than that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for the awesome support in 2019. I didn't get to every game because of issues outside of YouTube. I tried to get to what I could, but it's been a fantastic year. Thanks to everybody for the support. It has just been a blast. Thanks to everybody that I've got to have on podcasts, all the people in the Patreon. And, well, that reminds me, if I've ever saved you any money or found you a game that you weren't quite sure you liked and you ended up loving it, maybe jump into the Discord and throw a couple bucks there. It absolutely helps, especially because pretty much every single video on YouTube now gets demonetized, and trying to make sure that we can fight this system, well, it's pretty much going to require all of us. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.